Rick Lagina's eyes were fixed on the cold, damp shaft of Oak Island. The sun had long set, leaving only the faint glow of flashlights to illuminate the excavation site. Around him, the team had packed up for the night, the hum of machinery fading into the distance. But Rick stayed, along with Marty, Charles, Dr. Spooner, and Emma. Something in the radar readings told him the search wasn't over. A metallic reflection, unusual and precise, marked a spot that had gone unnoticed for centuries. Slowly, the team descended into the narrow passage. The air was stale, thick with the scent of old wood and wet stone. Their footsteps echoed, blending with the faint drip of water from above. As they reached the end of the tunnel, a structure appeared, partially hidden in shadows. A massive door, 6 feet high, made of thick, aged wood with rusted iron hinges, blocked their path. Carved along its edges were symbols, crosses that resembled those of the Knights Templar. Rick ran his hand along the carvings, feeling the cold surface. "It's centuries old," he whispered. No one spoke. Slowly, Rick nodded and gestured for them to push the door open. The hinges groaned as it shifted, releasing a deep, cracking sound. Dust floated into the beam of their flashlights, and the air grew heavier with the scent of metal. The first glimpse into the chamber stunned them. Light reflected off hundreds of objects scattered across the floor. Gold bars lined the walls, their edges gleaming even in the low light. Silver cups, delicate and old, sat in clusters. Wooden chests, some closed and some slightly ajar, revealed their golden contents. Rick's voice trembled. "This isn't supposed to be here." The words echoed through the small chamber, carrying a mix of awe, fear, and disbelief. Emma stepped forward, her flashlight illuminating intricate carvings along the walls. Sun and moon symbols intertwined with Templar crosses, forming patterns that seemed deliberate, almost sacred. On a stone pedestal rested a golden chalice encrusted with red gemstones and engraved with a small cross at the base. Dr. Spooner leaned closer, examining the markings. This is a Templar relic," he said, voice barely above a whisper. The team explored cautiously, aware that this chamber had remained sealed for centuries. They moved slowly, touching the gold bars, inspecting the chests, and studying the carvings. A large scroll, remarkably preserved, lay on the floor. Rick picked it up carefully. The writing was Latin, faded and difficult to read, but certain words still stood out. They spoke of oaths, guardians, and the sacred protection of treasures meant to remain hidden. The gravity of the discovery pressed upon the team. This was not just treasure, it was history, a message from the past. Rick examined the walls, eyes tracing the strange symbols. "Non omnis morar," he read aloud. The translation, "I shall not die completely," sent shivers down everyone's spine. Beneath it, another engraving read, "Sanctum Custodes," meaning holy keeper. The chamber was more than a treasure vault. It was a sacred place designed to protect objects of immense historical and spiritual significance. Every item, every symbol seemed carefully chosen, leaving no doubt that the Templars had intended this place to remain hidden. As they documented everything, the team remained silent, aware that even speaking too loudly might disturb the history surrounding them. Emma adjusted her flashlight, highlighting carvings that resembled coded messages. Marty, ever methodical, began recording observations. Charles measured the dimensions of the room, noting its precise 20 by 20 foot layout. The gold bars were stacked neatly, some coated in a thin layer of dust, others shining as though freshly polished. The chests contained coins, jewelry, and small artifacts. The air seemed thick with centuries of mystery. Hours passed as they moved through the chamber, cataloging and photographing every detail. Rick's eyes occasionally welled up with tears, a mix of joy and reverence. "This is what we've been searching for our whole lives," he whispered. "But it's more than that. It's a warning, a message. Some secrets are meant to be preserved, not taken." The team felt the weight of his words. This chamber, hidden for over 200 years, had finally revealed itself. But it also reminded them that they were part of something far bigger than treasure hunting. They discovered a second wooden chest, slightly smaller but packed with coins and a thick scroll. The parchment was damaged but mostly intact. Rick carefully unrolled it. Lines of Latin script, almost completely eroded, hinted at rituals, protection oaths, and the sacred responsibility of whoever opened the chamber. The symbols matched those carved on the walls. Every piece of the chamber told the same story. The treasure was sacred, and the Templars had designed it to be more than gold. It was a guardian of history. Even the gold bars themselves were remarkable. Experts later confirmed that their composition matched refining techniques used in the 14th century, aligning with the height of Templar influence. Some bars contained symbols etched into the surface, indicating ownership or religious significance. It became clear that whoever had created this chamber had invested immense effort to conceal not just wealth, but knowledge and spiritual artifacts. Despite the treasure, Rick remained cautious. He knew the discovery carried risk, legal, historical, and even personal. The chamber might have been sealed for a reason, and unearthing it could trigger consequences beyond their understanding. Yet the team pressed forward, documenting every inch, cataloging every object, and discussing their significance. The room, bathed in golden light from the scattered bars and artifacts, became a sacred archive
Of history, hidden under Oak Island for centuries. At one point, Rick paused at a section of the wall. Small markings were visible under the flickering light, almost imperceptible at first. Using a magnifying glass, he traced intricate patterns resembling ancient Templar codes. Emma documented the symbols, taking photographs and notes. Marty speculated on their meaning, suggesting they could point to other chambers or hidden caches nearby. Rick nodded thoughtfully, realizing that this discovery might be just one part of a much larger network hidden beneath the island. The team also noticed evidence of previous disturbances, faint marks in the soil indicating that someone might have attempted to access the chamber long ago. Rick considered the legends of the Oak Island curse, the idea that treasure seekers had died attempting to uncover secrets here. He wondered if the chamber had remained intact for centuries because it was protected by more than just doors and locks. Perhaps it had been deliberately concealed to avoid human interference. As they prepared to leave, Rick carefully closed the chamber, leaving the gold and artifacts exactly as they had found them. The discovery was too significant, too sacred to be treated lightly. He turned to his team and said softly, "We've touched history, but we have to respect it. This isn't about possession. This is about preservation." They left the site with a mix of awe and humility, aware that what they had witnessed would change the way people viewed Oak Island forever. News of the leaked footage spread rapidly. The world debated its authenticity, historians analyzed symbols, and metallurgists studied the gold composition. Social media exploded with discussions, theories, and excitement. Many believed Oak Island had finally revealed its greatest secret, while skeptics questioned the timing and cinematic quality of the footage. The mystery deepened as governments and experts weighed in, some cautioning that legal and historical regulations prevented full disclosure of the treasure. Despite the controversy, Rick's emotional reaction in the footage became iconic. His words, "This isn't supposed to be here," resonated across platforms. Viewers around the world speculated on what he meant. Was it a warning? A comment on the sacred nature of the chamber? or the realization of centuries of history hidden beneath.
The island? The uncertainty only fueled the legend of Oak Island, reminding everyone that the pursuit of truth can be as powerful as the treasure itself. Radar scans conducted days later revealed additional voids and tunnels beneath the chamber. The team realized the gold chamber was part of a larger underground network, possibly extending hundreds of feet below the surface. Spiraling shafts, horizontal tunnels, and hidden alcoves suggested a complex design intended to protect multiple caches of treasure. Rick's gaze remained steady as he considered the possibilities. "This may only be the beginning," he said quietly. "The real treasure, or the true mystery, could still be waiting." With each revelation, Oak Island proved itself to be more than a simple site of buried gold. It was a complex web of history, mystery, and human ambition. The combination of sacred artifacts, ancient codes, and centuries-old engineering spoke to a level of sophistication few could comprehend. Every discovery raised new questions. Who built these chambers? Why were they hidden? What secrets lie in the tunnels beyond? Rick Lagina's leaked footage became more than a viral moment. It turned into a global phenomenon, prompting discussions in historical journals, online forums, and news outlets worldwide. Experts debated the origin of the artifacts, the authenticity of the Templar symbols, and the meaning of the oaths inscribed on the scrolls. Oak Island became a focal point for those fascinated by history, treasure, and the intersection of myth and reality. Even with the excitement, Rick emphasized respect for the site. He reminded the team and viewers that Oak Island was a preserved heritage location. Any further exploration required caution, legal permissions, and careful documentation. The discovery of the gold chamber was not just about wealth, it was about touching the legacy of a lost order, understanding its history, and preserving it for future generations. The leak of the footage ensured that Oak Island would never be seen the same way again. The combination of gold, relics, and sacred symbols reignited global interest in the island's mysteries. The public now debated not just what existed beneath the surface, but what it meant for history, religion, and human curiosity. The leaked footage transformed a centuries-old legend into a living conversation that spanned continents. As the team left the chamber for the night, Rick reflected on the experience. The discovery was extraordinary, but it also carried a profound lesson. Some mysteries exist not merely to be solved, but to remind humanity of its place in history. Oak Island had given them a glimpse into the past, a window into the intentions of those who came before. It had revealed treasure, yes, but more importantly, it had revealed meaning. The golden glow of the chamber, the sacred symbols, and the preserved relics would remain etched in their memories forever. Oak Island had once again proven that beneath its soil lay secrets beyond imagination, challenges beyond comprehension, and treasures beyond measure. Rick, Marty, and the team knew that their journey was far from over. Each discovery led to new questions, new paths, and new mysteries waiting to be uncovered. The story of Oak Island was no longer just about treasure. It was about history, secrecy, and the human desire to uncover the unknown. The leaked footage reminded the world that some secrets are powerful enough to command silence, challenge beliefs, and inspire awe. For Rick Lagina, this moment was the culmination of a lifetime of searching, a mixture of triumph, humility, and wonder that no one could ever forget. Even after the gold chamber was documented and analyzed, the island remained a puzzle. Every corner, every symbol, and every artifact hinted at a much larger story. Oak Island had revealed a part of its secret, but it had also reminded the world that history often keeps its most profound truths buried, waiting for those patient and daring enough to seek them. Rick's whispered words in the footage, "We've touched history, but perhaps it hasn't left us yet," captured the essence of their journey. Oak Island's mysteries were far from over. The gold chamber was not the end. It was a beginning that would continue to inspire, fascinate, and challenge those who dared to explore the shadows of history, following clues left by the hands of those long gone. And so, Oak Island stands today, an island of mystery, treasure, and history. The leaked footage ensured that the world had glimpsed a secret previously hidden for over 2 centuries. But as with all great mysteries, every answer revealed only brought more questions. The gold chamber was real. The Templar relics were there. The oaths were written. And the true extent of the treasure, the history, and the story of Oak Island still waits, silently, beneath the soil, whispering to those who listen carefully enough.
Had seen pressed upon them. The air felt heavier, as if the walls themselves were holding the centuries-old secrets of Oak Island. Each step back up the shaft was measured, careful not to disturb any evidence of the chamber's existence. Outside, the night had grown colder, and the distant sound of the ocean waves against the island's rocky shore reminded them of the isolation surrounding this mysterious place. Rick's mind wandered to the centuries of treasure hunters who had come before them. 6 lives had already been claimed by Oak Island's curse, and legends whispered that the 7th would reveal the ultimate secret. The thought weighed on him heavily, but he was also filled with determination. What they had discovered wasn't just a treasure. It was proof that the legends were more than myths. Somewhere beneath the surface, the real story of Oak Island still waited to be uncovered. Back at the temporary camp, the team began to carefully sort and document what they had seen. Every gold bar, coin, and artifact was photographed, measured, and catalogued. The golden chalice, with its red gemstones and Templar cross, was treated with extreme care. Emma carefully noted every carving on the walls, comparing them with ancient manuscripts she had studied. Marty analyzed the positioning of the gold bars, noticing patterns that suggested intentional placement rather than random storage. The room itself seemed designed to impress and intimidate anyone who entered. The interplay of gold, light, and sacred symbols created an atmosphere unlike anything the team had ever experienced. The walls reflected the torchlight, giving the room a glowing aura that made every object appear sacred. Even the scrolls, fragile from centuries underground, contained messages that hinted at the wisdom and knowledge the Templars intended to preserve. Historians would later debate the authenticity of these findings. Some suggested that the symbols matched those found in Templar documents dating back to the early 1300s, while others questioned whether the chamber was a later creation designed to look older than it was. But to the team standing there that night, the authenticity was undeniable. The carvings, the artifacts, and even the arrangement of the gold told a story too complex to be fabricated. Rick and Marty discussed the possibility the chamber was part of a larger network. The radar scans had already revealed voids and tunnels extending far beneath the surface. It was possible that the gold chamber was just one of several hidden vaults, each designed to conceal specific treasures or information. The thought was both exciting and intimidating. Oak Island had layers of mystery waiting to be unraveled, and they were only beginning to scratch the surface. The Templar theory became a central point of discussion. Researchers from around the world analyzed the footage and found similarities between the symbols in the chamber and maps used by the Templars in Europe. The words Sanctum Custodes and Nonymnus Morar suggested a level of spiritual and historical significance beyond simple treasure hoarding. It appeared that whoever had built this chamber intended to protect something far more valuable than gold, a legacy, a message, and possibly secrets that could change history. As days turned into weeks, the leaked footage continued to create a global stir.
Experts debated its implications, while social media users dissected every frame for clues. Reddit threads and YouTube comment sections were filled with speculation. Could Oak Island contain multiple Templar relics? Was the gold chamber truly untouched for centuries? And most importantly, why had Discovery Channel never aired the footage in full? Theories ranged from government suppression to preservation laws, while some suggested that the Templar treasure might carry a curse meant to protect it from discovery. Rick and the team remained focused on their work, documenting, analyzing, and respecting the chamber. They knew that rushing to publicize their findings could have consequences, both legal and historical. The responsibility of holding such a discovery weighed heavily on them. Each artifact in the chamber told its own story. Gold bars bore faint engravings suggesting ownership or ceremonial significance. Silver cups contained markings that hinted at religious use, possibly for rituals performed by the Templars. The scrolls and carvings were part of a complex system of messages, likely designed to communicate with those who understood the sacred codes. It was clear that Oak Island was not just a burial site for treasure, but a carefully planned preservation vault created to safeguard knowledge, artifacts, and history.
Chamber also raised questions about the lives of the people who built it. Who were they? Why had they come to Oak Island? And how had they managed to construct such a precise underground structure without leaving traces on the surface? These questions would haunt historians and treasure hunters alike. The sophistication of the chamber suggested a level of engineering and planning that was remarkable, even by today's standards. Rick and the team realized that uncovering the gold chamber was only the beginning. They would need to study the layout of the island, analyze historical documents, and cross-reference the symbols with known Templar artifacts. The discovery opened a door to possibilities that were both thrilling and daunting. Oak Island had revealed a secret, but the full extent of its mysteries remained hidden, waiting for those patient and determined enough to follow the clues. As the night deepened, the team reflected on the emotional weight of the discovery. The glow of the gold and the sacred symbols had left an impression that went beyond material wealth. It was a reminder that history is alive, that it carries lessons, warnings, and messages for those who seek to understand it. The gold chamber was a testament to human ingenuity, devotion, and the lengths people will go to protect what they hold sacred. Even after leaving the site, Rick's thoughts remained with the chamber. The words, "This isn't supposed to be here," echoed in his mind. They were more than a comment on the treasure. They were a reflection of the centuries of secrecy, planning, and preservation that had gone into creating this hidden vault. Oak Island had proven once again that it was more than a legend. It was a living, breathing mystery with layers waiting to be uncovered. Radar scans and historical research would continue to reveal new paths, tunnels, and chambers. Each new discovery hinted at a network more complex than anyone had imagined. Oak Island was not a single treasure site. It was a labyrinth of history, designed to protect knowledge and wealth from those unworthy or unprepared. Rick and his team understood that they were part of a story much larger than themselves, a story that would continue long after they left the island. The leaked footage became more than a viral phenomenon. It sparked a global conversation about Oak Island, the Templars, and the nature of hidden treasures. Experts from around the world weighed in, offering insights, analysis, and even skepticism. The public was captivated, debating the authenticity, the meaning, and the implications of the discovery. Oak Island had once again proven itself to be a place where history, mystery, and human curiosity intersect. Rick's reflection on the chamber reminded the team that the greatest discoveries are not always measured by gold or wealth. The true value lay in understanding